Hello all, thanks for checking out Scorched Earth Toys at Anymoon.com's review of the Bandai DX VF-31E Chuck Mustang Custom as seen in Macross Delta. Love or hate Delta, it has had a successful run of music and merchandise with the release of this toy in July 2019 at an MSRP of 22,000 yen, being the 8th DX VF-31 toy to hit store shelves. Due to the interminable licensing issues around Macross, you won't find this toy on the shelves of Big Bad Toy Store, but you will find just about everything else. Click the link in the comments below to get your shop on and to show your support for this channel. Bandai kept the standard packaging of the DX VF-31 line, which is a great thing. The toy comes in a nicely decorated, thick cardboard box. Under the lid, you'll find a second lid for presentation purposes. Further down, you'll find the toy nestled securely within a plastic bag lying in a bed of styrofoam under a blanket of plastic. There are oodles of accessories, but the presentation stays top-notch by concealing them under their own cover. Removing that cover reveals the same accessories that came with the original 31J and 31C releases. That means you get a pilot, obviously it's Chuck this time, a co-pilot, she looks the same as all the other co-pilots, but this one's supposed to be Reyna Prowler, 2 daggers, 2 multi-drones, 1 in flight mode and 1 in projection mode, and 6 pairs of fixed-posed hands. Pulling out the styrofoam tray, you'll reveal a plastic clamshell that contains a basic display stand consisting of a base and arm and 3 display stand adapters, 1 for each mode. Under the tray, you'll find instructions, and you can find a full scan of the instructions up on Anymoon.com. This toy lacks the reaction missiles Bandai included with the 31S and 31J Kai, and Chuck's mission pack doesn't have a gun, so Chuck better stay out of trouble. If you are familiar with any of the previous DX VF-31 releases, then you are going to be very familiar with this toy. It's the same size, same scale, same feature set, essentially the same toy, but with a different mission pack, which is one of the cool things Kawamari did for Macross Delta, was create these mission packs. So here we have the Mirage toy, which has the mission pack that has a gun underneath of it, which I will show you. There's the gun down there. And then we have Chuck's VF-31E, which has a folded up radar array or sensor array. And you can see there's still plenty of clearance for the landing gear. We have these rubber tires on the landing gear with metal there, integrated tow bar up front, again, integrated landing gears, rubber tires. So all those good things, and if we put the toy on the ground, it's gonna roll just fine because that radar array is up high enough. Now we have the ability to unpeg or unseat these wings by just pulling them out a little bit, which allows us to bring our legs down like so, and I'm going to do that on either side. And then we can fold the sensor array up, fold out the center section, and then bring down the edges on either side. And then just fold those pieces out, and you have your sensor array, and this then twists. That's pretty cool. Now we bring our legs back up, and you want to get that Gerwalk joint tight, the wings seated in the back, and you will be able to whoosh this toy around without any issues. So let's spin this one around so we can see what we're doing. So bring that up. There we go. And seated in the back. Now, the one downside here is we have a big gap right down the middle, which would be the same on one of these other DX VF-31 toys if you brought the gun up right now. On this toy, it's a little more obvious because it seems like you would have this array out more often. Now, I've got a little bit jostled right now, but you can get it to be pretty flat. And you do have some options with this. You can take it and you could bring these in, and you can bring them in here, so there's just a little bit of gap, or you can continue to bring them in and actually make a solid array. So there we go. So now it's not going to be perfectly flat. You're going to have some wobble to it, but that's a pretty cool feature. You get to pick which of those 3 styles, or I guess 4 if you're going to leave it tucked in, that you prefer. So that radar array is really what makes Chuck unique, but you still get the features of the multi-drone bays in the legs. So I just pull that up, and then you can see those multi-drones within, and you can see there's clearance with the radar array on there. no big deal. I can also still use the sliding version of opening that bay. You can see the multi-drones there, no interference from the radar array, no matter how you've got it styled. That feature still very much going to be in play. Two unaddressed issues with the VF-31E are the gap that can appear behind the cockpit here, which is fairly frustrating. It's just a little too wide. It's occasionally you can get it where it's not that big a deal, but then you handle it and it just ends up creeping back up and being pretty wide. The other issue is the overly frosted canopy. And you can see it's been this way since Mirage. You can kind of tell there's a pilot in there, but just barely. We do have an opening canopy, which is pretty cool. We can lift this up because there's a concealed hinge. There is the separate pilot figure. We also have the stowage compartment behind with the cover on it, so we can remove this piece. Then we can bring the seat back, and now we have a two-seat version of the vehicle. And we could put Raina in. She's got her green accents. That's how you know it's her. Just plug her right in, close this right up. And again, it's so frosted, you can barely tell that we have two people in that plane. This toy comes with the same simple display stand that all DX VF-31 toys have been coming with. Exact same fighter mode adapter as well. To get the toy on there, you just line up what will become the crotch with the front of the display stand adapter. The legs will also kind of peg into place and it'll hold it sturdy enough, but you have absolutely no ability to angle or pitch this in any possible way. We also do have intake fan covers. We just pop a fingernail in there and remove the intake fan detail. It might be nice if there was some sort of a paint app in there. There is not. While you're handling the toy, it could be easy to bump the canards, bump the wings, knock out the leg, particularly if you are going to have the radar array up. It's a little bit easier to knock the legs out of their pegs in the wings. And obviously the vertical stabilizers in play too. You might bump those and the radar array might get bumped. So maybe a little bit more fiddly than some of the DX VF-31 toys, but still very solid, very enjoyable to handle. I've heard people say that they aren't a fan of the VF-31 in Gerwalk mode, and to them I say, you're crazy, because I love it. And this toy is a fantastic rendition of Gerwalk mode, and it has all the articulation you could possibly need to really enjoy it. And I did mention mission packs earlier. Here is the radar array. I have popped it off. This is the mission pack that comes with Chuck, but I could easily take my Mirage mission pack, which is color matched, so it would work just as well. I could pop the gun up and twist this out, and I could give Chuck a standard mission pack, make him just like the other DX VF-31 releases we've had so far, if I wanted to. So that is a cool option. It's one of the features I think was really underutilized by the show, which is a shame. So we can just plug that in, and there you go. Now you've got him with the array in Gerwalk mode. And I mentioned articulation. You can bring the arm back and forward. You just have to watch for the wing. You don't want to scrape too much paint there. You can bring the arm out like so. There is a twist point right above the elbow, and you have a double jointed elbow that lets you get way more than 90 degrees of motion, and the ability to pivot the gun up so he's not completely defenseless in Gerwalk. And obviously these guns are in fighter mode and Battroid as well. So that's really cool. Moving to the hand is on a ball joint, so that's good. The big weakness with the hand here is that this one finger doesn't bend at all. So you get it in these awkward positions where the other fingers, you can bring them in. This one, he's just kind of pointing at you all angry, like, get off my lawn. So that's a little funky. Moving to the other side here, I mentioned a dagger before. You get two daggers. They conceal underneath this forearm armor, and you can leave them in all modes. So that's pretty cool. Moving down, and notice that I'm handling the toy and it's not popping apart on me. It's pretty stable. You have the ability to pivot out below the hips, like at that Gerwalk joint. Then you have the Gerwalk joint itself where the leg is bending down. You have a nice extension, nice clicky knee joint. As you come forward, you got to bring that kneecap forward, but there you go. Huge swing of motion there in both directions. which is great. And then we have an ankle. Look how far forward that comes. It's great. You do have a little piece on the back that can pop off. It's on a ball joint, but it being on a ball joint allows you to get it out of the way, and you can bring the leg forward, back, and in all directions. And it's going to let you do everything you want just to have an amazing time with this toy in this mode or in Battroid mode as well. If you want to get the most out of that Gerwalk mode articulation, you can use the display stand. The adapter pegs into the back of the wings as well as at the crotch area and really holds things nice and secure. Now I mentioned the dagger, which is in here. If you want to get the best use of that dagger, we can pop it off here. You're going to want to grab your fixed posed hand that's meant for holding the dagger. Here it is here. So you just fold the dagger out and pop it into the hand. And it's a pretty secure fit. There it goes. And then you can just pop, these are ball jointed hands, pop it right off and then pop on that fixed posed hand. And it's a little tricky because for transformation, it can rock left and right like so. But there you go, that's the dagger in the hand. There you can see the pretty crazy range of Gerwalk articulation. You can have a lot of fun with this toy in this mode. Though there are some similarities to the 31A head, Chuck has a unique head sculpt, including that sensor pod, the dual weapons on either side, and you can articulate those weapons however you like. They are on ball joints. They don't pivot out very far, but you can manipulate them as you please. Does have that similar eye sensor to the 31A, so an overall similar look, but definitely different detail work. The heads on these toys are really cool. They are on ball joints. You can rock them back and forth, left and right, up and down. So a huge range of motion up top. Turning the toy around to that sensor array on the back, you can have it out and you can have it up kind of like a sombrero hat if you wanted to, or you can have it any sort of angle in between. And we could take it and fold it back up and drop it down between the wings if we prefer. And you do have that large back kibble that is standard of the VF-31. It's going to be an issue here, kind of no matter what you choose to do with that sensor array. So that's a thought for you. I think it looks best when you bring it up and open it up like we had originally. I think that's your best bet for this toy. And it looks most like an E-Lint Seeker that way. And obviously that's what they were going for. So here's the toy on the display stand in Battroid mode. Here's the Battroid mode adapter. It locks the toy very securely into place, allowing you to take full advantage of all that articulation, get the toy into some crazy poses, and not have to worry about the center of gravity at all. It's going to stay up, it's going to stay firm, and you can have a lot of fun. You may be concerned if that sensor array is going to ruin your fun in Battroid mode, and the answer to that is no. Battroid mode continues to be a huge highlight for this toy. It does an amazing job in this mode. Despite that back kibble, you have ratcheted hips, and so you're not going to have to worry about the toy falling over. Everything comes together great. You do have a waist as well, so you can have just an absolute ball posing this toy however you want. Now, the lack of a gun with this particular toy does make it a little less fun. And again, you can take the gun from a different toy or the whole mission pack and swap them out to increase your enjoyment level. It's a little bit of a bummer that Bandai didn't just give us a standard mission pack so we can treat Chuck however we wanted to. But given how unpopular they felt Chuck was, and this being the last of the Delta group to get a release, I guess we should kind of just be happy they got to it at all. And we did get kind of such a cool sensor array. Check out my full article on anymoon.com, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.